Welcome back, all my chicken people. Today is pig wrangling day. These guys got to go to the butcher tomorrow, so we're going to get them loaded up in the trailer. But I thought I'd show you Monday's video. You saw us bringing chickens out into the chicken yard, so you can see they are adapting well, and the chicken yard is full of life out here. These guys have been exploring, coming in and out of the coop. I haven't done anything yet with the little Timu coop yet, but you see a couple of them are exploring out there and getting all the grass they want, all the bugs. But today's main objective, I got Jake to help wrangle some piggies. This little guy here, or girl, is not ready to go. She needs to go in January. And there's one more. He's over at the water. Right there. He will go in January. But one of the questions we get asked a lot is what kind of pigs we have. These are American Guinea hogs. They're a heritage hog, lard hog. But we moved these guys in here last night. They were over in the trees in their own pen. So don't panic, people. There hasn't been 14 pigs in this little pen. They've been working in the trees, and we've been moving them in the trees, letting them do root up the trees in there and break down all the sticks and everything. So we just moved them over here, which we probably should have filmed because that was comedy in itself. But this is about the only way. We don't have a loading facility for pigs, like a permanent setup. So we make do with what we got. And what we got is a little catch pen over here. And we'll get them into that catch pen. Then in between our grow out pen and our barn, we have an alleyway that we will run them down and to the trailer. So let's go around the other side. So I got the 16.6 trailer hooked up. It's going to be a tight load with 10 pigs in there. These aren't like full out feeder pigs like a lot of people think. They don't weigh 400 pounds. They weigh about, or they don't weigh 600 pounds. They only weigh about 300 pounds. But this is the little loading alley. You could see back there was the catch pen, and we can funnel in between the grow out pen and the barn here, run them right down this alleyway, and then I have a little ramp built, and they go right up into the trailer. So cobbled this all together because we only have to do this once or twice a year. The main thing is you want to use heavy duty panels and wood. This is all a bunch of scrap wood we have. If the pigs can see through it, then they'll stick their head underneath it and lift it up, and there ain't much you can do to keep them from blowing through this pen without having like a permanent setup. But got a bunch of hay in the trailer. We're gonna get all these guys, hopefully 2 or 3 at a time. I got a cut gate on the trailer, get them in there, get them to the front, get a couple more in, cut them to the front, and go from there. But we have those 2 little pigs we have in there. We need to get separated, so we don't want to load them up. So we need to go get those 2 separated. And then we have a couple little piglets that we need to show you guys. So we had piglets 2 days ago. American Guinea hogs really only throw like we've had anywhere from 1 to 9 pigs in a sounder. So Caitlin likes little piglets. But all right, let's go. I guess I'll let Caitlin show you the little guys first before we separate the 2 big piglets, and start trying to get these guys in the trailer. But store them over there.
So here's the little piglets. They're having a little snack. There's 4 of them. There's 2 girls and 2 boys. I'll lift this one up. Whoop! Sorry, little one. You can see how tiny they are. Little guy. Yeah. Or little girl. I don't know which one that one is. But mom's just chilling, letting them nurse. All of our American Guinea hogs are really good moms. They are pretty chill. Aren't ya? Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I always love coming out here and seeing the little guys. Try to pet them as much as possible when they're little so they kind of get used to people. We've only ever had like 2 that are extremely friendly. They were like dogs. They would run up to me and roll over and let me rub their belly like a dog. But for the most part, they're just kind of like to stay back and do their own little thing. Yeah. Whoop. They're kind of ugly a little bit, but not too much. Huh. All right, now we gotta go outside. Whoa. Taking me out. Number 2, come through. Watch out.
All right, we gotta get these 2 little pigs separated.
Nope.
Cut them off. The other one. Keep going that way. All right. Just like that. We'll let these little guys back in here with the sows once we get all these guys caught. But we just didn't want to deal with them getting into the trailer and then having to get them out of the trailer and running them back. So that worked out pretty easy.
Is it always that easy?
Yeah, as long as you can get them behind this pen, this little hutch here, and run them down the edge of the fence, have somebody there, works out. So, all right, let's open up the catch pen here and see if we can't get 3 or 4 down in there.
Only 3 or 4
at a time. And then Jake, we'll have you go around by the grow out pen gate by the trailer. Once we can get 3 or 4 in there, we'll have you cut the slide gate. I'll turn it back over here real quick. So what we're doing here is setting up a little hog panel up to this panel, and we just do a quick wire job like so, and as we run them down the pen, they'll hit this, work their way into the catch pen, and then we'll run them down the alley and up into the trailer, in theory.
Does it always work out that good?
No.
Yeah, no. But like I said, we're going to try to grab a couple at a time. We do have 4 sows in here, our breeder sows, and we need to make sure we don't grab them. Most of them have ear tags, plus we know which ones they are, but we're going to try to grab 3 or 4 here. We'll let you go around and film them coming down the alley. So we'll run them down the alley. I had to get those chickens out real quick. But Jake will be down here making sure they don't destroy something, and hopefully we'll get them up in the alley, and then we'll throw the gate. We really need like one person here, one person filming, two people running down here. Because once they realize this is kind of a dead end, they'll want to turn back. And that's when you need 2 or 3 people. We'll use a little gate to keep them from going backwards, so they have to go forward. But once we get them in there, we can sort them in there and use the cut gate in the trailer. But I guess we'll go try to grab 3 or 4 and bring them on down. Hopefully they don't jump the fence. You might try to stay off to the side so they don't see you. No turning around. I might grab that stick. Come on. You're probably gonna have to back up a little bit, Jake. Yeah, they see Jake and come on. Come on, pig. Come on. Well, that went way too smooth. I'm not sure how that worked out so well.
You guys will notice when I'm here, it's all good.
Yeah, Jake thinks that he's the reason. I think it's because we failed so many times with our corral setup that we finally figured it out. The wood is the ticket. If they can see through it, it's a problem. And they could see Jake down here filming, so they didn't like that. But I didn't get my trailer perfectly backed up, so one of them dropped a foot, but it didn't like hurt itself or anything. But what I'll do is come in here and get the cut gate. Alright, so there's 4 there. We can probably get 8 in the front, and once we get 8 in the front, then we'll shift to getting like 4 or 5 back here. We'll split them up. The front's bigger than the back, so we should probably put like 6 up front and 4 in the back to kind of make sure the weight is balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, you better watch out.
But for the most part, that went pretty smooth.
Yep, I'll be standing right here to make sure it keeps going.
But as you can see, we're using a panel. Just a hog panel with some chicken wire. That's so they can't go backwards. And
a poker stick.
And a hot wire fiberglass poker stick. We don't use a hot shot like a lot of people.
Just poking them with this is enough.
Pigs that you're around a lot, as long as you just give them time, be patient with them, let them do their thing, they'll slowly follow the leader. You just got to get the first one going, then they'll follow the leader. But hot shotting them is not the route we want to go. And we got a storm coming, so we need to get these pigs
Let's go.
loaded up. Turn around, there you go. We got these 2. Once we get these 2 in the trailer, we'll put them into the front cut gate. There you go. Turn. Make a turn. Make a turn. There we go. Come on. Oh shit. Storms are coming, piggies. Yeah, turn around.
Go.
Backwards works too. All right. That one went backwards up the ramp.
Together.
Together.
Had that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, whatever works, as long as they're up the ramp.
How quickly do you want me to open that gate?
We're gonna put those up front.
We're gonna move those up front.
Right now.
Yeah.
Ready for me to get in?
Yeah. Hey, your buddies are over there. Go around to your buddies. Hey. You might have to go get out. There we go. All right. That's not too crowded for 6 of them.
Good.
I think so.
On to the next.
How many more we got left?
4.
Are they all just gonna go in the back?
Yep.
Yep.
So we're gonna try to get them all in one shot here.
We have one barrow that's real big though.
Yeah.
He'll be a pain.
But
Crack the whip on 'em.
we can get them to cooperate and not panic like those last 2. We'll make it work.
I'll just poke him in the butt.
Poke them in the butt. So pretty much these last 4 here, we need to figure out. Need to run them over to here, down through here, and then right through here and down the alley. So, yeah, see if we can't get them out of this water hole. Without having to get into the water hole. All right, Piggy, go that way. I don't know if y'all can hear the thunder and the rain coming. We're trying to get this done before the rain. We're gonna try to leave these sows in the hut here. Get these 4 down the alley all at once. Come on, pigs. Come on. Come on. Hoo-yah. Where's which one's the sow? See if you can't get around her and get her back out. Come around here. All right, yep, we need these 2 right there. Watch out, watch out, watch out!
Nope. Go, back out.
That's one of our sows we don't want. The other ones are already down the alley. So I'll get in here real quick and get behind them so they don't back out. All right, we got all 4 of them. Up, 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 up. Coming in. Here we come. Here we come. Take a left turn. Left turn. Nope, nope, nope. Left turn. Left turn. Stalemate. See if you can climb out there. We'll let Caitlin get out here and see if she can't get them started up the ramp. There goes one. No, watch out, Kate. Watch out.
Here we go. Come on.
Turn around.
Turn around. Or back up.
Backwards works.
Just gotta get over. There you go. Come on.
Oh no, don't turn around. Don't sit down. There's always that one.
There we go. Come on. You're almost there. You can do it.
She's like, I can clear that.
No. No.
Don't even think about it.
You're so close.
One pig squat.
Alright. That was,
That was probably one of the most difficult one we've ever had.
yeah. That was the difficultest one we've had. I don't know if that's a word or not.
It is today.
It is today when you're loading pigs. We've had, last year we tried to do this with these panels without the wood, and it took us 2 hours to get the last
And-
4.
Okay, the trailer was like
There's a lot smaller of a trailer, didn't have a cut gate.
this big.
It was a 10-foot trailer that had double open doors, and we were doing it in a different pen, so we didn't have this alley, and so
It was awful.
yeah, we've definitely gotten better at this process. But yeah, these are all of our what we call feeder pigs, even though they're American Guinea hogs. These are all for customers that buy them whole hogs, and then we deliver them to the butcher. We did 13 this year. These piglets were born last July.
Yep.
And so it really takes 10 to 12 months on a heritage hog to get them to what we call full grown or market weight. With these pigs, we like to see them hanging weight at around the 200 to 250, and then 250 pounds. That gives you, now about 50 pounds of that is going to be your fat. They have a huge fat cap. But yeah, the flavor on them is unbelievable. You get your flavor from your fat. So I don't know why people enjoy eating feeder hogs that have very little fat, because that's where your flavor is. You can dry out a cut a lot faster on a feeder hog than you can on these guys. But these guys cook up real well. Bacon's unbelievable.
Pork chops are delicious.
Pork chops
You
are-
can cut them with your fork.
Yeah, they're so good. We have 2 of these. We took 2 last week over to Phil's farm and butchery there in Hutch, Kansas, and those are going to be just for us. And the rest, all these guys are for customers, so they're all sold. I don't know with the piglets if we're going to grow those out. The other 2 little piglets that we moved over with Wilbur, those are already sold for next January. We just got to finish them out. But yeah, they get, somebody will ask what we feed them. We feed them a 16% pig grower all the way up until the last 2 months, and then we feed them a 14% hog finisher. And then they have access to alfalfa. We get big squares of alfalfa bales, and they get full access to those bales as well. And they usually consume 1 or 2 bales in the 12 months for 10 to 12 pigs. So if you have any questions about American Guinea hogs, they're similar to Kune Kunes, less ugly. That's what I say anyway. And then they're similar to red wattle, I guess. Red wattles are kind of the borderline between a feeder hog. They get much bigger, but they still have a little bit of fat to them. We did mangalistas for the first year, which is, if you've seen any dead trees back there in the pig pens, it's because of them. They ate all the bark off and chewed on the trees and killed them. The guinea hogs don't chew on trees. They hardly ever root unless they're in their mud hole. And
Their temperament is just
yeah,
better.
they're just a lot easier. Those mangalistas were not friendly, but not super aggressive. They just made you nervous getting in a pen with them. They were just wilder. These guinea hogs, just you can walk up to them and touch them and pet them, and they're just a lot easier to handle.
And you can mess with their babies.
Yeah,
The mangalistas, I couldn't get near them.
yeah, if you touched their babies, it was like they were gonna eat you. But these guys, you can pick them up, squeeze them, and love them. But nope, all these pigs, I was kind of nervous there for the last couple months if they were going to get up in weight, and they really finished out well. I think all of our customers are happy. Most of our customers that are buying these pigs have already bought pigs from us before, so they know what they're getting, and they've been real pleased with our pigs so far. We're probably going to look at replacing our sows in the next couple years. They're about 4 years old, so we're going to need to replace them as their litter sizes and their fertility start slowing down, and we'll get pretty picky on what breeder pigs we get. I wouldn't mind crossing a red wattle with a American Guinea hog, just to get a little more weight but still have the fat. So, but I don't know. We do sell piglets too, but about half the piglets we raise or we sell, and half we raise out for customers. But bright and early tomorrow morning, we were going to haul them to the locker tonight, but they're calling for 100-mile-an-hour winds, gorilla-sized hail, chance of tornadoes, and I didn't want to be driving in that because most of it's up north where we're headed. So, am I missing anything? We're going to see you guys bright and early in the morning. Jake's going to sleep in and not go with me. Caitlin's got to work, so I'll be running solo. Hopefully they have somebody at the locker to help me unload, or I will wing it. But I'll take you with me, and we'll show you the rest of the process, I guess. I don't know if I'll have the, if I have the hanging weights by the time I post this video Friday, then I'll let you guys know what the hanging weights are. So, other than that, we'll see you bright and early in the morning. We get to tear down the corral now that we're done with it. Down you go. Come on. Welcome to your final destination. Welcome back, everybody. We've taken the pigs to the locker, so we've got our numbers back, and now it's time to kind of talk about a little bit more about these pigs. I don't know, I came into the barn here. This is the sow that has the piglets. I don't know if you can see them back up there, up against the wall. When Caitlin showed you that video the other day, we had 4, and one was a runt, and it didn't make it, passed away last night. So unfortunately we're down to 3, but we're not going to sugarcoat it here. That's just part of farm life. We do the best for our animals to give them the best life, and that one just didn't make it. So we're down to 3 piglets, and even the runt, we saw it latch on several times, and we check on them 2 or 3 times a day, and it latched on and got milk, so we knew it got colostrum and milk. So why it died, I don't know. I don't think mom rolled over on it. These guinea hogs are really, really good mothers. Very, very rarely do they squish a piglet. And we've had these sows for I think 4 years, and maybe only ran into that once, where it looks like they got killed by the mother. So again, that's one of the reasons we chose American Guinea hogs, is because of their great mother ability. We don't have to have them in farrowing crates. We just leave them here in the barn. We've also had litters of piglets out in the snow before, which is crazy. We always keep a alfalfa bale out there for them, big square alfalfa bale, and they'll just make a little nest up underneath that alfalfa and have their piglets in the snow. We've seen it done a couple times, and their success rate is extremely high. So another reason heritage hogs are awesome, and pigs with a lot of hair. These guys will sleep out in the snow. Most of the time they're in the barns, but they're extremely heavy or hardy, and when they aren't having, like a feeder pig can have 12 to 15, 16, 18 piglets, and that just puts a lot of wear and tear on their body, having that many piglets a couple times a year. So our average size is about 5 to 7. So it is what it is, and we're okay with it. Smaller the sounder size, the more milk each piglet gets. And these little 3 we have left are really growing, so I'm excited to see those guys grow up and stay healthy. I'm not sure if we're going to keep them or sell them. We really need to have about a dozen piglets at a time to keep back to grow them up. It's if you're gonna grow out 5 of them, you might as well grow out 10 of them, kind of thing. It's the same amount of work, just costs a little more in feed. But there's several reasons why we like these American Guinea hogs. The hardiness, the ease of birthing. I mean, we've never been here and had to help them have piglets. They usually have them at night. We've been out here a couple times when they're having piglets, but whenever we check on them every day, we kind of can tell when they're going to have piglets. They come in here to the barn, and you can tell they're uncomfortable. And they come out easy, and they come out lively. Mom takes great care of them, and like I said, other than being just good hardy pigs, they're extremely friendly. We talked about that earlier in the video. All these pigs you can scratch on and love on, and if you spend enough time with them, they're just fun little pigs to have. I say little, they're probably 300 pounds, but compared to a 4-year-old Burke or Hamp or some of those other giant feeder pigs, 300 pounds is pretty small. So, but the reason we've kept with these is the flavor of the meat. I got 2 chickens over here duking it out, I guess. The flavor of the meat is just unbelievable, and I'm not saying American Guinea hogs have the best flavor. I think it's heritage hogs in general that have the flavor. Anything with a fat cap. So these guys, my butcher sent me a picture the other day. Let me see if I can't pull it up real quick. So this is, I'm not going to put on the screen, I'm just going to show you on my phone here. But you can see that fat cap to meat ratio. And I mean, they just have an awesome fat cap. And that's where you get your flavor, is in your fat. So everybody really likes Angus beef for the marbling. Same with Wagyu. Like most people like a good steak with a good fat content, but yet everybody still buys their pork from a store or from a feeder hog where there's very little fat on it. So it doesn't, I haven't figured out, maybe the pork industry is just trained people that's, I always joke around that pork shouldn't be the other white meat, and that's really what it is in the store, is just dried out, flavorless. I thought pork in the store was good until I had heritage hog pork, and the flavor in the fat is just so good. And we keep all of our fat off of our pigs and mix it in with deer when we shoot deer in the winter. We'll grind that into the beef or into the venison and give it the flavor. Deer fat isn't very good, makes it gamey, so you mix pork fat in it, makes it really, really good. And then or you can render it down and cook with it. I cook my eggs in the pork fat. It's really, really good that way. and pork fat is really good for baking. So those that like to bake, I've never made a pie crust. I'm not a pie maker, but people say the pork fat off these guys make super flaky pie crust. I'm gonna take their word for it. But there isn't as much meat off of one of these hogs, obviously, because they have so much fat and they're slow growers. So we take our pigs to 10 to 12 months is the range we take it. And I believe this last batch that we hauled to the locker was 11 months. I think they were born last July. That's one downside with these pigs, is you have to almost run them twice as long as a feeder pig. And so they do consume more food. Probably. I haven't really raised a feeder hog to know how much. I'm sure you can find the stats online somewhere, how much a feeder hog weighs to market weight compared to a heritage hog to market weight per pound of meat. I don't know. But I did the math last year, trying to remember how much each pig cost me to feed it from roughly 6 weeks old or 5 weeks old when they're weaned off mom to 11 months old. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was like roughly $300 in feed per pig, and then I sell them and make a few bucks off of it. I definitely am probably undercharging on my heritage hog pork compared to what a lot of people charge. I guess if any of you watching raise a American Guinea hog or Kuni Kuni or Meishon or Mangalista or any heritage hog pork, put down in the comment what you sell, like hanging weight, your pigs for whole to like a customer. I sell them for $2.25 a pound. Last year I was at $2 a pound, and I just didn't make hardly any money for a year's worth of work. So I went up to $2.25, and it's still like time invested for profit margin. Like, I don't know what the hourly rate is of how much I have in time, but I make like $100 a pig or so, maybe a little bit more. So, but it takes time filling feeders and moving them, and you know, obviously we cut all the boars to make them barrows, and so all that time invested into it for, you know, $100 a pig. Is it worth it? I don't know, but I will tell you that the compliments I get on our pork makes it worth it. So all of our customers just rave about how good our pork is, and most of our customers buy a whole hog every year. And so that, the same with our chicken, like that's going to be your biggest testament if you're selling a product, is if your customers keep coming back. If they don't keep coming back, then you know your product may not be as good as you hope it is. But almost all of our pork goes to the same customers every year, and they just rave about it. And they, like, as soon as they get their pig back from the locker and they eat a little bit of it, they ask when the next one is, and then they milk that pig until the next pig is ready. So I find my customers don't like to share their pork chops and their sausage and their bacon when it tastes as good as it does. But outside of flavor, I thought I'd run through some of the weights real quick and talk about how these guys hung, or that last batch, my grow outs hung, and they were mixed between barrows and gilts. So I don't know which one was. I know my biggest one was a barrow, and just because I could tell he was the biggest one, and he weighed 378 pounds live weight, and then his hanging weight was 300 pounds. So that's minus the feet, the guts, the skin, the head, pretty much what's going to get cut up and packaged is your hanging weight, minus a few bones. But so 300 pounds, and probably 50 pounds of that is going to be all lard. And so most of my customers request the lard back just so they can render it down and cook with it, or mix it in with venison or whatever they want to do with it. We always keep our lard back for that reason. So a 378 pound pig hanging at 300, so 79% of that is, we call that, I don't know what the term is, but if you want to figure out, like for us, if we want to figure out what the hanging weight's going to be, if I had a scale here, I could run a live pig over it and figure out 80% of that live weight is going to be your hanging weight. And so I went through and looked at all and did the average of hanging weight versus live weight, and they were all either right at 78%, and 80% was the highest, 78% was the lowest. So it's a pretty small number. But 300 pounds hanging weight was my biggest one, and my smallest one was 215. So I had a 300, a 299, a 283, 275, 258, 251, 248, 248, 260, 247, and 215. So, and I guess I took two last week to Phil's farm, and they hung at 208 and 214. Those were the two smallest ones, and I knew they were the two smallest ones, and I wanted those two small ones to go to me, not to customers. I wanted my customers to get some of the bigger ones. So, but yeah, and those were gilts. But it's I just kind of break down. I wanted to have the numbers back before I told you. So like I said, about that 260 was our average hanging weight at 11 months. And I don't know how much of weight, packaged weight, that gets back, but yeah, these little pigs are awesome. We're gonna keep raising these guys for as long as we stay in pigs. I think guinea hogs are gonna be on the farm for a while. And but yeah, if you got any questions about American Guinea hogs, I can't speak for other breeds. I can speak a little bit for Mangalistas because we raised them and didn't really like them. We raised one potbelly and butchered it, and that was don't ever do that. That's just like a 90% fat. I mean, that's just, the pork chops were like that big, and then the fat cap was like that big. It was a mess. But yeah, I enjoy these guys. I know Caitlin enjoys them. But if you got any questions about them, let me know. They're not a super common breed. They're becoming more and more common. Coonies are kind of the most common heritage hog right now, but these guys are making a comeback. Anyway, that's all I got for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more pig content, comment down below. But until next time, don't haggle with your egg supplier. Buy your pigs local, and we'll see you on the next one. We love you guys.